Hi, everyone, and welcome to Relevant Doers podcast. Today, we are with Naveen and his wonderful team. So, Naveen, why don't you introduce yourself to us?
Okay, so hi everyone, Naveen Mishra with 20 plus years of experience in IT industry. Your sports came to my thought when I was playing with my friends. That's how the concept of your sports came in. And it's not only about soccer, we are going to expand in badminton, squash, baseball, basketball, a lot of sports. So basically the vision is to have a one spot destination app for amateurs. That would be your sports.
Can you introduce your wonderful team members?
Alina, I have seen her since birth, like childhood almost, like when they were 1 or 2 years old. These new generation, they have planned everything. They are, they have a process set, what needs to be done at what stage. So that's the best part. So over to Alina. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hello, everyone. My name's Alina Shaikh, and I've just finished my 12th grade, just given my board exams here in India. Based on my education and my career, I aspire to pursue law, specializing in corporate law. So I'm yet to start off with my college. As far as sports is concerned, I haven't been the most active person when it comes to sports, but whichever sport be it, I've always enjoyed myself thoroughly on the inside playing it, be it badminton, cricket, or even swimming. I feel it's a very enriching activity which the youth really should be taking on.
How did you grow to kind of decide that the corporate law is something that you're interested in? Was it an influence from some of the adults in the family, or it was just your discovery? You just decided that that's something that's interesting?
So it's a very upcoming specialization and field, at least in India. Corporate law wasn't something that's always existed in India. It's always been civil or criminal law that people have practiced and studied. But since this new thing came up, I remember I had this one online session at school, and we had a university fair where different universities in India and abroad came in to pitch the courses that they offered. There was one such university that I saw which offered a corporate law specialization. That's when I realized maybe it's not law, but I'd like to specialize in something like corporate law, which deals a little with the technical part in basic firms, and which is, I feel, there's huge job market for it too. And it's in rising demand. So that's what I first noticed. I think I have always had an upper hand with my communication or my oration skills. So it's an added advantage to the field that I'll pursue.
The way you formulate thoughts even is very eloquent, I have to say. It feels like you've been doing podcasts for many years.
That's a huge compliment.
Is this your first one?
Yeah, it is my very first podcast.
Oh, amazing. Yeah, I remember my daughter when she was like 7 years old, and I was driving, and she was like, Daddy, I'm finding out that life for girls is maybe more difficult than for boys. And I'm like, wow, Radha, like you don't even know to which extent, but absolutely, it is, it's so much harder to be a lady still, I think, in our world. So it's amazing to see one challenging all of that and being such a good inspiration. So we're rooting for you.
Thank you.
My daughter is also joining. Here she is.
Hello.
Bye.
That's awesome. Okay, wonderful. Well, now look, we're so blessed to be in the presence of such wonderful, young, ambitious, smart women.
So she's also one of my business partner, and she's planning to pursue psychology. So I remember, like, she was telling me, like, down the line after 5 years, every family would need a psychologist. So she's trying to pursue her career in psychology. So why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
I'm Aisha, and I'm very interested in psychology because for me, psychology has always been a big deal. I feel like it's always interpreted as something that doesn't have a lot of significance in today's job market because of how lowly it's looked down upon. So I've always felt like I wanted to make a change. I feel like psychology that isn't widely recognized, I wanted to pursue something in that, knowing that down the line, people are going to need more therapists because of AI and everything. Everything is going to become artificial and technological really soon because of the uprising of technology. So I felt like there has to be a more a humanistic approach to this, a more natural solution to this. I feel like psychology will help a lot in the future
Mhm.
because people are going to need it. People are definitely going to need a lot of therapists, a lot of psychologists.
That is, I
Yeah.
think, so true because things are getting more and more overwhelming. That's for sure, right? Just like the
Yeah.
amount of information that we need to process is our brains are not made for this. We are overwhelmed with all of this, and it's only accelerating. And I'm
Right.
sure that people will be kind of needing some guidance and support. I'm totally 100% on that. I have a question to you, Naveen. You came to the podcast not just on your own, as usually a founder would do, but you decided to bring this wonderful young generation. What was your thinking behind this?
My thinking, I always admire the thought process of the younger generation, like what she told. Like, since we are moving into a, AI world, technology advanced. So I'm here who is going against it. The reason behind that is I want you to be on the field via my app, like using my platform, wherein we are giving you your time, your me time. So my app is against the AI, wherein we need physically your presence on the field. This is how when these new generations speak about it, I feel very proud. Also, they are so sorted out. They know how to balance things. And this all their thought process is helping me how I can enhance my app. And where AIs and all these things are coming, yes, that would be part of my app. But yes, you have to be on field. You don't have to sit in front of computer 24 hours a day.
Yeah, that's really cool. Now, my question is to Alina. When you see an entrepreneur building his business like Naveen, right? And you got kind of maybe a more of an inside look into the process. Like, what are you thinking? What are you feeling? What is this for you?
I feel the cause is very true because in the world of AI and technology, where everything is driven by technology, especially after COVID, speaking someone who's a part of this youth, we're really hooked to our electronic devices, spending hours and hours playing video games. So why not also accompany it with actually being outdoors on the field using technology through an app like YourSportz? I feel it's a great combination and a great stimulation of both technology versus also your outdoor input, which is required in. I feel it's a great stimulation what's required in today's time. So you're not totally hooked to something that's online or electronically driven.
Yeah, love it. How does it feel to see your dad build the business? And how does it feel to see the inside of this all? I'm sure like there's not many people that knows and see so much as you see of like the real
Yeah.
what it takes to build a company.
I feel like I'm really glad that my dad is ambitious because I feel like if I didn't have a presence like him, even my mom, she's a very hardworking person. But I feel like if I didn't have someone as ambitious as my dad, I don't feel like I would have strived as much as he has. Because to me, he's not just my father, he's also a man I highly look up to. I
Mm.
feel like everything what motivates me, I feel like I have to resemble my dad in myself. I have to reflect my dad in me. I have to prove to everyone, well, I am his blood. So I feel like seeing him do something that takes a lot of brain power to think about something like that. You need to have like a powerhouse up there. And like, I'm honestly shocked by the idea by myself. So
Yeah.
I always felt like doing something this big, striving for it, because most people, they think of something creative, they immediately give up. They're like, okay, this is not going to happen for me. But the fact that my dad actually went out of his way to reach for something so great, I feel like that really motivates me to be better in life. So it's really cool to have a
Wow.
presence like him.
Amazing. How does it feel to hear this from your?
I'm a proud father.
You should be. You should be. Yeah. Wow, guys, it's amazing to see you together and to hear these words. Very inspirational and very inspiring. I remember my daughter when she was, I don't know, 4 or 5, and we were driving again, and she was like, "Daddy, you need to tell me more about what you do. The fact that I'm a kid doesn't mean that I don't have good ideas for you." So, and she's like, you know what, when you talk about relevant and what you're building, this is the most interesting for me because I love brainstorming with you and I love thinking with you. So she was like, the fact that I'm a kid doesn't mean that I will not be able to contribute. And I was like, wow, okay, you got. And since then, we've been thinking things and ideas. And she's able to really articulate beautiful things for me the way that I can't, right? So I think this openness to people who care enough to listen about what we do as entrepreneurs, and then kind of building more systems where everyone can participate and contribute and highlight their strength. Can you tell us about the plan for this year and the way you see YourSportz developing? What is the vision?
So the working right now, we are 80% done from our app development. We are in MVP phase. So in a span of 2 weeks, we are going to start our beta testing, then alpha testing. It would be available in US, Germany, India. Globally, it would be available all over the world for end users to use. But as phase one, we are at soccer or football. Then by July end, we are going to come up with hockey. Then we are going to come up with badminton, then squash, then Wimbledon tennis, then baseball, basketball. But as a phase one, we are concentrating on hockey because I want to take only one step at a time, learn from my mistakes, get the reviews and improve on those things and ensure that, in hockey and or other sports, we learn what feedback we have received from the end users and incorporate them in our product and give it to the users back.
Love it. Okay, I have a question to Alina and to Anna. With this vision, what do you think are the biggest obstacles that can prevent this from success? What does Naveen have to pay attention to? What can he miss that he shouldn't miss? If you have some thoughts about that.
Number one should be his mentality. I don't feel like he should back down or give up at any given chance. If something isn't going good, if it's not going right, if it's not going the direction he wants it to, I don't feel like he should just immediately back out because it's a very sporadic way of approaching things. It's like you have to take it one step at a time, and some things aren't going to work out, obviously. And I don't want that to deteriorate my dad's mentality. I just want him to feel like, okay, this is a kind of a hindrance and I'm going to have to grapple with this somehow. And I don't want him to fade into some type of mentality like, okay, this is not good. I feel like you should pay attention to even the smallest of things because you never know if something goes wrong, it can mess up the entire thing. So you have to pay attention to little details and you shouldn't get your mentality disrupted because, again, mentality plays a huge role in this. So, yeah.
Amazing.
Just Anna said, especially when you're launching a startup, perseverance is the thing you need to be having the most at all times. Things might work out, they might not, because to start with a startup right from scratch, bootstrapped especially, it takes a lot of courage and also a lot of spirit inside you to educate each person about that startup. And an idea which hasn't been tried and tested in India. A lot of people do businesses such copy-paste or just a similar ideation to something that's done earlier. But this is an extremely new concept. So to educate people about it, starting off with a sport like football, which has just started to gain its attraction to the Indian audiences, I feel it's going to have some obstacles, but they're going to be worth it at the end of the day. I can already see it being a success. So it'll go well.
And you, I don't even know how you have this in you, because this reminds me of also when my daughter speaks. Like, she just says this immediate, like, incredibly profound, deep, right words that the entrepreneur needs to hear. And like, you haven't built companies. Like, how do you know? It's like the universe speaking to you to us through you. And I feel like it's so amazing and so inspiring and so important. Like, these are the most important words that we need to hear, because building a company, and guys, like, I've been doing it for a long time and I've been helping so many entrepreneurs. Like, very few people know how lonely actually of a journey and how difficult of a journey this is, right? To be a founder, to be this driving force, because everyone's looking to you and asking, okay, boss, what's next? And you can only look into the mirror and say, okay, what's next? Like, I guess this, right? And when things kind of hit, you are the one that has to take care of everyone and everything, right? And so to have this force inside of you that doesn't allow you to give up, but the only way to do it is when you hear words like this, and it kind of pulls you out of bed and you can do all of these heroic things. And that also applies to your careers as well, right? Like, you can tell this to yourself We have, in Relevant, we have this kind of position of, we call it a guide. It's the person who kind of helps entrepreneur do everything that they need to do and kind of stay on the journey. Naveen knows in this role, and when she needs to pull some of us, she does it. I feel like you could be a wonderful guide.
If you have observed, when we communicate with the young generation, their thought process is so clear what they need. And that helps us, that inspires us. It's like I'm not among those like I'm elder to you, whatever I'm saying would be right. No, it's completely crap for me. I don't think about that. Because now we also need to understand that these generations, they have better ideas, they have better thought process. When during my time, there was no mobiles, no social media, nothing. The knowledge they have is far more better than us.
It took me to ask this question. It was an unusual question to ask. Oh, like, what is Naveen missing potentially, right? To then hear these wonderful answers. So that is just a good illustration of how when we create these open systems, beautiful things come out of them. But we have to kind of invite and include each other into whatever we're doing.
Right.
So that's our message to everyone. Come to podcasts with your daughters, your friends, the younger generation, older generation. Oh my God, what if we invited our grandparents and they would share some of their wisdom? That could be so fun.
We crazy.
Okay, wonderful. Alina, do you have any thoughts, ideas, impressions of how did it feel to be on your first podcast?
Oh, it was lovely. Thank you for having me. And it actually is my first podcast, so I'm very happy to have that experience. And have full faith YourSportz is going to be a huge success. I can see 10 years down the line. I can see it like being one of the steps to something that's going to be becoming revolutionary later in future. It's a great stimulation of technology and also physical activity and outdoor sport. It's something very new and open does very well. And it was great being here.
Awesome, wonderful. Oh my, yeah, wonderful words. Arna, what about you? Any final thoughts, and how did it feel to be here with us?
It was lovely. I love the way you articulate your thoughts, and it was even more better to be here with my dad and my best friend. Like, it feels more comfortable. It feels like, we're having a very family conversation. But I am also very hopeful that this is going to turn out great, because I'm not saying this out of bias because he's my father, but I know him not as a father, but as a man, and how hardworking he is. And I know that once he really puts his mind into things, it's going to take off. He's done that with me. Like, when someone, when they feel like they can't do stuff and they end up doing it anyways, that's my dad. He feels like, okay, I'm here right now, but I have to go up here. And he does it either way, no matter what gets in his way. That's how he gave me an education abroad. I personally don't think I could have ever done that. He's the one doing it for me. And I'm proud of the entire process, and I'm glad that he has people like you. Like, you're a very nice guy.
You guys are very touching. Straight to the soul. Straight to the soul. Naveen, your closing thoughts. And again, thank you so much for bringing this wonderful humans to this conversation. That was so beautiful. So how did you feel about all that, and the final thoughts?
My final thoughts were, coming as a coach, as a mentor with YourSportz, that collaboration has worked really well, because I know these two kids won't be aware. Like, there has been tough time with me mentally when Relevant has been there. You have guided me. Tough time will come and go. It's a temporary phase, but the collaboration with Relevant has really helped YourSportz, because now my majority of my concentration is getting the investors and all those things. I have streamlined all my team. They are working on it. They know what output is required. So that's the best part. And I'm confident, not overconfident, but I'm confident YourSportz is going to rock the world. We'll be the fastest growing unicorn in the world.
Let's keep pushing. I feel like this conversation gave us such a boost of enthusiasm and energy. And it's not always easy. But like you said, guys, it's all about just persevering, believing, and having a great support system around you, yet that helps you go through all the hardships and then celebrate together and be grateful for all these people that were supporting you along the way. We always see this when someone receives an Oscar and they give the speech and they say thank you to my wife or my husband or my mom, who was always there for me when no one believed in me, but they were there, right? We want to be these people that are there for someone who will be giving this speech. And hopefully we will also be these people who are giving this speech.
Well,
Live our life this way.
hey,
Wonderful. Thank you so much, everybody.
Okay.
great.
Bye.
Yeah.
Good night.
Bye.